hello, gorgeous ladies of the Cash program. How are you feeling today? Today, we're really going to start to dive in to the sequence, the Cash sequence. So everything that we've been learning up until now is going to start to come together in the most way. I'm excited to get the ball rolling on this. So are you up to date with the program? How are you feeling? What's your vibe today? I'm going to let people jump on, have a little bit of water. Hi, Kimberly. Ellie. Hello, Ellie. Hello, Madeline. Emily Utter in the house. Kelly. Hello, Kelly. Hello, Belinda. Hi, Samantha. Tara Leah in the house. Hello, hello. Are you ladies together, you and Kelly, or are you separate today? Hi, Misha. Kiwana. Hello, Vivi. Hello, Kristen. Elizabeth, Sharon. Loida in the house. I'm so happy you love this program. Oh my goodness, Kiara Mazuko in the house. Ladies and ladies. Hello. Right? I chose a very rustic decor, which is my wood for my background today. Thought you might enjoy the change of scenery. Super up to date. Yay. Nicole Castile. Hello, Theo. Hello, Lynn. I have that sweater. Well, Billy does. Kevin wears his pineapple season is coming sweater all the time. I'm actually wearing his right now. It's like ginormous, but I love it. Still catching up, rewatching everything, and halfway through the homework. Yes. Hello. Good morning. All right. Ready to rock and roll. Kiwana says, oh my God, after yesterday's video, I realized I was drinking wine from the dollar store glasses instead of the beautiful ones from Tiffany's. That's preposterous. This glass is for my water, and it's a Rydell glass, and it's like the best thing in the world. For me, I don't know where or why I got this obsession, but like the quality of the glass that I drink out of is very important to me. It's maybe why I created those crystal water bottles. But this glass is like paper thin, you know, like just delicious. You gotta have a fine glass. The glass is so important. Like I literally, and the thing that's most important for me is champagne. I will, and you can ask the Alpha team this, because if we're going out for dinner or something and there's an option on the menu for champagne, I'm like, can I see what glass it comes in? And if they don't have a glass that feels good to me, I'm like, oh, never mind. I'll have a glass of wine or I'll have a cocktail. Like, I will not order Veuve in a plastic champagne glass or an ugly champagne glass. What a waste. Can't do that. The glassware, it's my fanciest luxury in life. I can sleep on the floor. I can sleep on the floor in a tent in Mexico, but I can't drink champagne out of cardboard or out of plastic or out of an ugly glass. It's just doesn't work in my system. I just can't do it. I prefer you now than in the recorded sessions. So nice to be with you live again. Yay! I'm so happy. I just ordered new wine and champagne glasses. This is what I gotta do. I hate when wine is not in a good wine glass. I know, it's the worst. It's the worst. Well, talking about wine glasses, how perfect. Kiwana, you literally just opened the door to the real conversation, which is the conversation of context today. So the cash sequence starts with C. And C is all about, oh my gosh, I think, is it Schott Switzel? I love those glasses. One of my photos, I don't know if you've seen it, but I'm like holding a wine glass with champagne in it. I'm in the bath. It's like a big wine glass and it's right in front of me. Is that brand of glass. I love it so much. Zalto, Rydell has really good drinkware. Anyway, so here's the thing. It's all about context and content. Context is the name of the game. I will not drink champagne out of the wrong glass. Because even though what's inside is delicious, if the context that holds the glass isn't as beautiful as what's inside, it's like, what's the point? It actually wrecks the experience. I wonder if having a hat on will take away the glare on my face. Yes, it does. So we'll be wearing a hat today. So for me, context is so important because context is what holds you. It's what holds your energy. It's what holds your message. It's what holds your brand. It's what holds everything. It's also where we are super individual and different in the way that we are as people. So for example, for me, my context is very often a luxurious context. But that's my context. You may have a spiritual context, a down-to-earth context, a raw, real context, a humorous context. There are so many different contexts available in the world, and the most important thing is that we choose one that's effortless for us. That the context we choose is one that just leads us effortlessly, that makes it fun for us to live in. So I've been watching a little bit on social media, like what's been going on since the beginning of this program, because a lot of you are my friends on Facebook now, because I friend my clients, and then I see your posts. And I have been seeing the most extraordinary posts, and I've been seeing the most extraordinary things go up. And I've also seen people kind of polling their audience and being like, what do you think about this? I'm taking this program and we're learning about, how we should curate our content, and what do you think about this? And I've seen a few posts like this, and one in particular really struck my eye because it had like 185 comments on it. I was like, this is really interesting. Let me go look what it says. And the thing is, people will always want you to be you. And I can't say this enough inside of this program. Like, you don't change your context because you think it's what people want. You don't suddenly start posting all kinds of luxurious things because you think that's what people want. It's not going to work. Your context is the real truth of who you are and what you stand for and what you love. So Ella says, I have a healing context. Like, what an incredible context, a healing context. So the bigger the context, the more it can hold. Okay? If you want a context of humor in your life, and you're like, for me, it's got to be funny. It's got to be lighthearted. Humor, lightheartedness, that's my context. When something happens to you in your life that's maybe unpleasant, your context for your life is humor and lightheartedness. So you can take that unpleasant thing and share it in the world within your context. If something for me happens in my world, and my world is evolution and growth over a lifetime, then I'm going to share it once I've understood the evolution behind it. I'm going to take that difficult thing. I'm going to maybe share it more afterwards once I've understood the evolution, once I've heard the growth, once I've figured out the growth it's going to bring for me. I'll share it differently than the person who has a context for humor, for example. If the bad thing that happened to you actually is from a trauma response or something that you've got to heal, and your context is healing, then you might share it in a totally different way. So a lot of times people ask me, like, how should I say this? What's a good post? How do I explain this? It depends what your context is. My world works not because it's luxury and people want luxury. My context works because I am on the vibration of that, and people want that from me. There are people who might say, I actually love that Melanie has this context, but if you had it, I would probably stop following you because I know that that's not you. I want you to be you. That's what I love about you. And I love about her that she's her, but don't you go copy that. That's not what I want from you. The way that we all get to be who we are in this world is when we make it a life mission to develop a context that works for us. Now, you may be looking at me like that right now, like, well, I don't know what my context is yet. Well, that's okay. We've been on the phone for 5 minutes. It's okay that you don't know what your context is yet. You're going to maybe try things out. You're going to maybe notice what pulls you in. What kind of contexts are effortless for you? Like, how do you actually look at life? What's the real truth? How do you look at life? Like Dawn says, I definitely am raw and humor. I love to laugh. So you can process your entire coaching business, your entire product line business through the filter of laughter. And people will love it. Emily says, this is so true. I have luxury experiences in my life, but it's not the context for my brand, right? So it's not about, if I started posting Chanel or something, people would be confused. It would be like, you may have Chanel, but it doesn't necessarily fit in your brand. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something. My sister's listening, but they won't ruin everything. Okay, if anybody, my sister's listening. Okay, I bought my brother a Christmas present that's so dumb, it's ridiculous. It's a little thing. It's not the whole present, but I bought him a present that's so dumb. It's so funny. But like, it's so not on brand for me to buy him this. I am not going to be filming on social media like, this is what I bought my brother for Christmas, because like, if I posted that, people would be like, what? But I can tell you, because you know me, you know I'm nuts. I do my funny voices in here. Yeah, I knew you were listening. I'm not saying it. You know, you guys know I'm silly. You know I'm silly. You know I make jokes. You know I talk about energetic poop storms and all kinds of things. But that's who I am in all of me. It's a part of me, but it's not all of me. That's Emmanuel for sure that said it's the best because she knows what it is. So you know me in my silliness, but it's not in my brand, the silliness. Does that mean that I disallow myself to be something in my brand? No. It means the context for my free persona is a different persona than my all of me persona. It's actually a privilege for you to know all of me. I feel safe with you. I feel happy with you. I feel good with you. I want to show you all that I am, but I don't want to confuse my marketing and show a million things. Like, this is my marketing. This is what I stand for. And then when people come into my world and they get to know me, they're like, holy crap, this multimillionaire girl that I'm following, because I'm like, I could never have that. All of a sudden I'm speaking to her. I'm like, of course I can have that. She's as nuts as I am. She has the same quirks as I do. She's got this. She's got that. I freaking love her. This is so funny. So I'll post it in here. I'll post my Christmas present in here after I've given it to him so you guys can see that, like, it would make not much sense for me to post this on my Instagram story, for example. You know, my perfectly curated Christmas cookies and my Christmas tree and my slow pouring of cocktails and then this gift, people be like, what? But I could post it. But I won't. But I could, but I won't. It's not that you can't. It's that when you have a context that makes sense and that's all like, this is my context, it becomes so simple what you post and what you don't. You're like, it's not really in context. I don't want to post it here, but I still want to share it. I want to tell my clients about it. I'm going to laugh about it. It's who I am. It's a part of me, but it's not part of the brand. It doesn't fit my grid. It doesn't fit my vibe, but then I can tell my private clients about it. I can tell my mastermind about it. I can come here in my programs and people will see that it totally fits with me because I'm a nut, as well as a multimillionaire, connected, heart, expanded genius, right? I've got all this mastery that comes through me and it sounds like I'm this incredibly intelligent human, and then I go do this really crazy thing. People are like, what? But inside of this context, inside of the context of a course where you've heard me sing happy birthday, you know, do animal voices, speak like a 2-year-old, then all of a sudden my gift is going to make sense. A little bit. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this is also her. So you get to choose in your life what your context is. Marley says, I love this. I used to think I was doing something wrong by being fully me inside my containers, but being more curated publicly. You get to choose what the first impression is. It's like saying, you know, I want men that really are going to love me. I want men that are really going to love me. I need them to know like who I am right on the first date. So on the first date, you know, I sit there, no makeup, really hairy legs, and I fart a lot. And then, you know, I swear like a trucker. And then also I pout and get mad at them because that's also something I would do 2, 3 months down the line. You know, just all the things. I make a list of all the things that are probably going to happen. And if he can't handle it on the first date, I mean, he's not my guy. How about you shave your legs, you put on some mascara and a little bit of lippy, you curl the tips of your hair, you sit nicely like a lady, and you just have a conversation on date 1. And then you add some spice, a little more spice, until he gets the full picture, like a frog in hot water. Give him a chance to warm up to the idea that you are a human. But for the first date, why not just, it's okay. But date one, being like, if he can't handle the whole package, he's not my guy. Can you give him a freaking minute for the love of all things? So this is the thing with my business. I'm like, can I be silly and dorky and a little wild and nuts and over the top? Of course I can. Am I going to do that on the first date? If someone finds me on social media, it's our first date. Dawn says 20 years into a relationship, let's one rip from time to time. 20 years into the relationship, but first date, like I just would like you to know this is what you can expect of me. This. Also, I get mad very fast. You know, like also I'm this and this. I just want to tell you all of this. Date one. If you're not enjoying this, it's just not good. You're not going to make it 20 years. Like, it doesn't need to be on date one. Like, smelling the fart does not need to be part of date one. And you making a post about something really, kind of loopy on your social media when people don't know you is not a great first impression. But what about in your group? What I suggest, if you want to be all of you on social media and it's not in the main context, you can also be more of that in your group. You can keep some of your identity that's like, this may not be my main identity, but it's my identity. No, I don't, Dawn. I actually don't. I'm laughing out loud. I don't poop or fart in front of Billy. He doesn't need to see that. Right? Exactly. So you've got to remember that the context is the one that you choose. Now, on the other end, there are women who might say like, yeah, I totally would fart on a first date if I needed to fart. Like, I'm a human. I don't care. I'll totally fart on the first date. I don't care. But that's the kind of human that you are. Like, that's who you are. And everything is funny. And you might be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Totally farted. Oops. And like 20 years later, that's the story of how he took you out to dinner and you farted and you were like, oopsies, I farted. You know, like that might be part of your life. Thank you. Thank you. So if it's part of your life, you don't want to be like, oh, Melanie says I can't fart on a first date. Are you the kind of person who can? Fine. I'm not. It's not in my context. It's not in my context for dating. It's not in my cash and farts. It's not in my context for dating. It's not in my context for marketing. It's not in my context for branding. Does it mean it's wrong? No. Because there is a fart app. Did you know that? The guy who created the fart app is a multi-millionaire. This is an app where you can download extra fart sounds for like $1.25. The app is like $1. You can download extra farts for $1.25. This thing legit makes fart sounds sound like farts. And it is like the adolescent dream. Like you can be in your classroom, press a button, and it's the sound of farts. And people do it on the bus, and people do it in the classroom, people do it other place, and it's so funny. There's fart app. It's so freaking funny. This guy's multi-millionaire. You can be the fart dude. If you're the fart dude, you have farts in your Instagram. Is in your story probably like, here's the flavor of the week. Download the new sound here. You know, like it's part of the marketing. That does not fit in my brand. Does it mean it's wrong? No. Does it mean it's wrong for my brand? Yes. You have only your own filter. You can't look at another person and be like, oh, they don't do it, so I shouldn't. It's really only just, does this fit? For me, Dawn, I came late into a fart discussion. Of course. How perfect, Dawn. Welcome. So what? Yes, your son would love that app. So the thing is, you've got to decide what makes you happy in your life. Like I have the freedom to be everything I am. I do not pretend to be someone that I'm not in my life. And I do not pretend to be someone I'm not in my social media. But I show up in different places, different ways. Everyone could be my client if they chose it. But on the first meeting, if all they want to do is know me from the outside looking in, then they're going to see a little part of me. You don't just get to just know everything about me just because you want to follow me on social media. You don't get to know the depths of my humor and insanity just from my Instagram stories. You get the tip of the iceberg. You get the pretty part. But my heart, my soul, my humor, my nutsness, that happens as we get to know each other. It's an honor and a privilege. Kevin says to me, I am so lucky. I'm the only one. Like, you think I'm funny now? Kevin thinks I'm the funniest person in the world. He says he's never laughed more in his whole life since he's been with me. He says I make him laugh more than any other thing. Like, he laughs all the time. He laughs to tears. He's like, I'm so lucky that I get this, all of you, like all of you. I love that I get all of you. What a privilege that people get to know you deeper and deeper and deeper. It's not inauthentic when people know a little bit of you. You think the cashier at the Target is inauthentic because she said, hi, how are you today? When also she's got a million other things going on. You think in order for her to be authentic, she should have been like, hi, I have a headache. My teenage daughter is driving me insane. I have indigestion from my lunch. There's a weird fungus on my second toe, and a bird flew into my window today and knocked itself out and made me very queasy. I've been thinking about it all morning. Would you like a paper bag with that? Does it make her inauthentic that she didn't give you the whole thing? No. You don't know her. You only get the tip of the iceberg of people until you have a relationship. So what I want you to know is it doesn't make you inauthentic to show some parts of you and then show more and more and more as people get to know you. What makes you inauthentic is if you pretend to be that one version of you everywhere, and if people were to meet you in real, would be like, oh, wait a minute, she's nothing like what she is in anything. That would be weird. Lynn, I'm going to be on the floor in a minute. I was actually surprised when I found out you were funny. Pleasant surprise. And I love it. It's like you get to have more of me. You get to have more of me as you know me. But if I'm this super amazing, funny human in life, and I'm just trying to be so professional because I think people won't like me if they find out I'm not professional, like, that's so silly. Like, no. I get to be all of me. But on my social media, there's a vibe of the marketing. Emily, I was also surprised you were funny. Yeah, bonus. You're so much more than your social media will be. You're so much more than your bio, but you've got to create a context, because if there's no context, it just feels like there's no focus. So types of contexts are things like, so here's the way I see it. The context is like the container. So there's different kinds of containers. So let's say, for example, my house is a container. It has so many parts in it. My house is a container. My kitchen is a container. It has all the kitchen stuff in it. My fridge is a container. It's in my house, so it's my stuff. It's in my kitchen, so it's food stuff. And then it's in the fridge, so it's cold stuff. And then I also have a different shelf, which is a container. There's a container for the juices, the sauces, the meats. There's a container for the vegetables. And then there's also like the milk jug, which has got milk inside. So the milk is mine. It's in my house. It's food, so it's in my kitchen. It's cold, so it's in my fridge. It's liquid, so it's on a shelf. And it's milk, so it's in the milk jug. There's a context within a context within a context within a context within the context. If there's just milk on the floor in the middle of my living room, it doesn't make sense there. Does it mean I can't have milk in my house? No. It means that milk on the floor in the living room doesn't make sense. It's not supposed to be there. So, what I suggest for you when you're looking at your life is that you look at what are you up to right now, and what could be a powerful context for that now. The milk jug is actually British more than Canadian. So it's more like I'll give you an example. Pineapple season is coming is my context for money. Magic on legs is my context for relationships. She who leads herself is my context for my human. Evolution and growth over a lifetime is the context for my business. I have different kinds of contexts. But if you put together pineapple season is coming, evolution and growth over a lifetime, magic on legs, all of a sudden you're starting to get who I am with all these different contexts. But everything I do has a place. My brand evolves and grows over a lifetime. That's part of my business. I'm in relationships, I'm the one or the one who got away. How do I show up in a romantic relationship? This is a context I gave myself when I started dating, is I will be the one or the one who got away. That is going to be me. I'm the one or the one who got away. And then I got magic on legs, and I was like, oh, magic on legs. Once I got Kevin, I didn't want to be the one who got away. I didn't even want that context anymore. Magic on legs. So the context elevated. Now, when I'm magic on legs in my relationship and something isn't going right, how do I show up when I'm magic on legs? When you're dating and you're not sure who's going to be your man yet, and you're like, I'm either going to be the one or the one who got away, how do you handle the situations that show up? When you're selling something and your belief is pineapple season is coming, your context is pineapple season is coming, how do you handle rejection? So much easier. You're the one or the one who got away. You're magic on legs. Pineapple season is coming. Evolution and growth over a lifetime. She who leads herself. These contexts bring me back to what matters in my life. And I will set different contexts for different times in my life. So if you, I'm bringing you on dates with me. If you have a strong context for, let's say you've got an offer coming. So my next program is Resolution Revolution. And Resolution Revolution for me is evolution and growth over a lifetime to the maximum. Resolution Revolution is evolution and growth over a lifetime. So my context when I'm getting revved up for this is evolution and growth over a lifetime, evolution and growth over a lifetime. I'm like so in it, in those energies, in those vibes. If something goes wrong in my life, something goes off in my life, in the time leading up to Resolution Revolution, and the context of my life at the forefront of my mind is evolution and growth over a lifetime, then when that thing doesn't go right, I get to bring it back and say, if this happened for my context, then how do I bring it into the context? If this bad thing happened, I'm going to actually give an example, because one of the ladies that had posted a story about one of the threads that I was talking about, someone that was like doing some market research. It was like a story. She was like, what about a story like, let's say a bird poops on my head? How do I share that? Would I share that? Well, I might share a story of a bird pooping on my head, if a bird pooped on my head, in a program. Inside of the context of, if everything happens for me, now what? Right? Like something really crappy, no pun intended, something really crappy happens, and I'm going to make it part of my story. I'm going to make it a coaching moment, because what did I do after? That's who I am. The context is, if everything happens for me, now what? Well, now what? So I would make that a part of the story. If you bring everything in life with humor, and something happens in your life and a bird poops on you, and you're like, post it, if you've got kids, like block their, I'm going to say a bad word. If you are a funny, edgy person and a bird poops on your head, you might make a post that starts and the caption is, shit happens. And then you might tell the story. Today, this is what was happening. I was literally walking down the street, bird pooped on my head. There are two ways to go about it. I laughed my butt off, and then, I realized life's too short, and then I did this, and then I did this. Life's too short to make a big deal out of little things. Go enjoy your life. I'm going to take a shower. Have a beautiful day. # shit happens. Like, you can make that a part of your brand if you want. It would make no sense to be in my brand. Is it because it's right or wrong? No, say it here. I could do a whole module about farts. It doesn't matter, but I wouldn't put it's not part of the context of the brand, the sale. It's not a context of my public brand, but inside of like, we are who we are. And this is just like, we're all just women growing businesses, living lives. We can tell each other the real things. Like, I'm not marketing to you right now. I'm talking to you. I'm teaching you. I'm helping you. We're together. We're the same. But when I'm selling to you, I'm bringing you in inside of a context that's like this beautiful context. That might not really make sense in my context, but then I might share it in my group if I'm doing a Facebook Live, in my storytelling masterclasses, or it'll show up somewhere else. I won't just not talk about it because I'm too proper. I'm not, but it doesn't fit my brand. So it's all the context. It's all the context. It's all the context. It's all the context. Does this story apply to my vibe publicly? Yeah, it does. If I put this twist on it and I put it in this context, fantastic. So why it's so important in our lives before launches to set an empowering context is because you are going to find that everything in your life becomes sellable when you have a strong context. In the context of evolution and growth over a lifetime, there is not one thing that could happen to me before here and resolution revolution that would not fit that context. And if you are a person who effortlessly sees humor in life, and you want to put humor and lightheartedness into your brand, you could pass almost anything through that filter. Healing. What is it? Look for the depth of the meaning inside the context of your life, and anything that's happening can be sifted through. Then you can lead yourself in such an empowering way. But what's missing always is what's an empowering context to lead myself through. If this is happening for me and the context I've set is ... then what's the lesson? If this is happening for me and the marketing context that I've put in place for this next program is this, how does it pass through the context? If this is happening for me and I've set a context of freedom and self-expression, how does that pass through this? If this is happening for me and I've set a context of being bold and brave, how does this pass for me? If I've set a powerful context of being courageous and confident, how does this go through the context for me? If I've set a context of luxury and self-reliance and self-resiliency, radical self-responsibility, how does that come through? You're going to have stuff to write about always. You'll always have a story. You'll always have something to say. You can set a context for the day. You can say, today is my day off. Today I'm having an entrepreneurial day off. So I'm having a day off as an entrepreneur. That's my context. So I woke up this morning and I got to sleep in on my day off, and I have a coffee in bed. That makes me so happy. That's my entrepreneurial day off. I'm so grateful. I'm taking a moment. I don't have a call. Someone messaged me on my day off. If I don't have a context for that, I'm mad that someone texted me on my day off. They should not have messaged me. It's my day off. If I'm having an entrepreneurial day off, I get to say, I chose that I had a day off. I said it everywhere that I had a day off. Yes, my clients messaged me, but I have a day off. So I'll get back to them when I go back to work tomorrow. And it's an amazing moment to get to say, yeah, people have messaged me, but I get back to it tomorrow because it's my day off. What do I want to do on my day off? The thing with being an entrepreneur is it becomes a little difficult because when we were little, when we were kids, we had such a powerful context. When we had jobs, we had such a powerful context. The most powerful context of life until you become an entrepreneur is the weekend. The weekend. Remember that being a teenager? The weekend? The weekend or the summer break? That was a context for full freedom and joy and expansion and pleasure. Like the weekend. What a freaking context. Oh no, I'm not going to do any homework. It's the weekend. Who you are changes. Oh no, I'm not available for that. It's the weekend. I don't want to do that. It's the weekend. Oh no, I wouldn't do that. It's the weekend. Of course I can do that. It's the weekend. Of course I can sleep until 1. It's summer break. Of course I can do that. It's summer break. Doesn't matter. It's summer break. Of course I can go there. It's summer break. When you're an entrepreneur, you have no context. You have complete freedom. So without the actual contexts, without actually creating this space for yourself, this container for yourself that has a purpose and a meaning, it's not going to work. What is this container? What are you going to name it? What are you going to label it? The container of the house, the living room, the kitchen, the fridge, the milk. It's a container. What's the storyline for January, for the day? What's the theme of the day? What's the theme of the month? The theme of the month is new beginnings for January. The context is new beginnings. What's the container? What are you holding? What's the energy you're holding? So you'll often see like, okay, we're going to have a Christmas theme during all of the holidays, and we're going to have a summer theme in the summertime. That's awesome. These are bigger marketing themes. They're bigger marketing contexts. But then what about the day? What about the month? What about this offer? You can market any of it in the right context. So when I'm creating context for Resolution Revolution, it's a whole theme for my whole life, for my whole month, for my whole beginning of year. What's the thought process? What's the container? What's the context? What are you holding today, for the week, for the month, for the launch, for the year, for your life? You can have so many different streamlined contexts. Living is the container. Yeah. Living is the container, the context, the theme. Living is the energy inside of everything that you're doing. Just being alive. If that feels like a powerful space for you to hold for yourself, and you're like, if my container for my life is being alive, my context for my life is just living, my theme is living, then what would I do today? What would I do on my day off? How would I spend my summer if that was my context? So for me, it's like January, my context is a new beginning, a new year, evolution and growth over a lifetime. So between now and January, it's going to be my whole life. In February, it's going to be being the one. Magic on legs. When it's about money, it's pineapple season is coming. I have these strong contexts for my life. And when something happens to me, I run it through a context and all of a sudden it's for me. Context equals you get to be the summary of why people should join your program. You're the summary. Everything you are, everything you say, everything you do is within the context of the thing. It always comes back to the thing. I love this because it gives me some structure to all the things. I love how you pulled context, container, and theme all together. They're the same thing. Your context, so I'm going to interchange words, and I know sometimes that can become confusing, but it's the same thing. I use different words because sometimes it lands in a different way, but I mean the same thing. Whatever word I'm using, it's the same word. It's the same thing. Your context, your container, it's what holds the information. The theme, it's what holds the information. It's what holds it. So the container is the glass. The content is the water. Right? If I'm having a boho chic themed party, I'm going to choose a different glass. The theme changes the vibe. You understand? The theme changes the vibe of the marketing. I'm going to change the look. Actually, you know what? You're right, Suzanne. It could actually be the theme is even bigger than the container. So let's say, for example, the theme sometimes could be the visual appeal in my world. And I don't know if this is different for you. So I'm not saying that, like, if you have a different word for another thing, I'm not saying this is what yours is, but this is what I want to say. Like, let's say Christmas is the theme, because this is actually quite interesting. I had femme fatale twice this past year. Once in the winter, once in the summer. The theme, it's like the context is romance, right? The context is love. The context is passion and all the things. But the theme is winter, or the theme is Christmas, or the theme is Hawaii, or the theme is our new house, or whatever it is. Like, there's a context within a context within a context. And the more you have, the stronger your brand is. So if you're like, let's say it's Christmas vibes right now and I start to sell femme fatale, I might want to have a photo shoot of me and Kevin in the winter. Because the theme is Christmas, but the context is romance because we're selling femme fatale. So you can change the vibe of things. You could have the same program and you could change the theme of how you sell it throughout the year. Like, I sell romance, but I sell it differently in the summer. I sell a different energy of romance in little strapless dresses walking barefoot on the beach as I sell romance when it's wearing cozies on the couch. But the more context I bring to the offer, the more I am in the theme, in the context, in the thing, the more it all makes sense. The milk in the container, on the shelf, in the fridge, in the kitchen, in the house. in the theme, in the thing, in the fun. And I'm going to go next level right now. And this for some of you, it's going to land. And for some of you, it's going to go way above your head. Don't worry if you don't get it. If you do, it's awesome. If you don't, it's fine. I have different context in my two houses. My island house has a different theme than my log cabin. When I buy something for my kitchen, in my island house, it's a different color, it's a different vibe than the things that I buy for my log home. So I will have my milk in a different jug in the fridge in the log home as I will in the island house. It's not the same because the context is different. I don't dress the same. I don't have the same vibe. I feel different in both places. Even my vibe on social media, like my morning coffee in the log cabin is like cozy on the couch with my mug, my fluffy blankets, overlooking the tree. My vibe at the island house is like, the Bob Dylan magazine with the coffee mug I posted yesterday that looks like more of a New York studio apartment. There's like two completely different vibes, but they're both coffee, but the jugs are different. The setup is different. The vibe is different. Everything is different. So your life gets to be segmented like that. Maybe who you are when you're selling a freedom program and who you are when you're selling a sales program is different. Maybe who you are when you're selling money and wealth versus who you are when you're selling empowerment and boldness is different. Maybe who you are when you're selling your money programs versus who you are when you're creating a coffee shop is different. Maybe who you are when you're selling orgasmic manifestation and who you are when you're selling private coaching is different. Maybe who you are in different contexts is different. That would make sense, wouldn't it? But does it all get to be you? Yeah. So you have the freedom to be all of you. But you set it up in different contexts, so it's always fresh and it's always exciting and it doesn't get boring for you, like you're always doing the same freaking thing over and over again. And you get to elevate inside of all of your contexts. The context will elevate. I love that, Erica. I'm every woman. It's all in me, like the song. So you're creating a life that holds all of you. I love this. I never considered thinking my different parts of my programs. That's fun. Yeah. I'm struggling with sharing the container of my new farm because we're under construction and I'm filthy, but it's everything right now. So it could be a context of evolution and growth. Like sometimes evolution and growth is messy. This is something I was telling one of my private clients this summer when she was going through an evolution. I was like, evolution is not always pretty. If you take like the human midway through evolution, like past the ape, not yet human, that is not a pretty thing. You don't look at that and go, oh, how wonderful, it's evolving. You're like, something is going terribly wrong. Go back to the monkey. It was a far more pleasant thing to look at. What the heck is this mutation? Evolution doesn't always look like it's going in the right direction. Sometimes in the middle of evolution, it looks sticky. It looks strange. It makes no sense sometimes. So maybe your context for you right now is to say, we're in the middle of evolving and growing. Maybe we're in the middle of evolving and growing and this is what it looks like. Like the goop stage in the caterpillar analogy. So you get to, if your context is evolution, if your context is the growth of a human, even through the messy parts, you can bring everything back. Cozy luxury, chic luxury, that's the vibe I get between both houses. Cozy luxury and chic luxury. Amazing. And still luxury because that's me, right? If I understand, we have a global context and specific context. For me, this is the best way that I found. My context, my biggest context for my life is evolution and growth over a lifetime. Like the mountain with no peak analogy. That's the biggest context for my life. And then inside of that, I have context for my money and my relationship and my mindset and my business and my programs and my marketing. Everything has more meaning and it makes it a lot easier to come up with stuff to talk about. Elizabeth says, so we context our programs and personal values and themes and theme our marketing. If you do that, then you become one with all your offers. If you have a context for your personal values, and those personal values intertangle with your programs, really, and then you theme the marketing and wrap it all up in a bow, you are in complete alignment with what you're building, always. It's actually impossible to be beside your alignment if your context holds your personal values, your programs, and you theme your marketing around what you're actually doing in your life. It's like